I knew for a fact that this wasn't going to be as good as last year's Cruiserweight Classic. By how much? Oh Lord, I had no idea how much better the CWC ended up being. This should not be called the Mae Young Classic. This should be called WWE Presents Random Women's Tournament. Shimmer Athletes vs. Noobs. I have watched all of the first round matches. Most of the matches were very bad, had very abrupt finishes, the crowds were dead, and most of the matchups were really undercooked. People will forgive the meager quality matches just because they are women, but it's not really the women's fault. It's on Triple H. He put this tournament together. Wrestling fans will give Triple H a pass when he books events that are underwhelming, but they really like to dogpile on Vince when his main event shows are underwhelming. Why this double standard? Because Vince didn't book it. Nobody's gonna tell Triple H that his events failed to deliver, because Triple H can do no wrong, right? But to me, this one has. He makes mistakes too. There was no reason to fix what wasn't broken with the Cruiserweight Classic. Triple H had all year to plan this tournament, and it seems as if he threw everything together at the last minute. He just signed 16 women to WWE contracts and only had 2 months to train them all, and then the other 16 women he just plucked from Shimmer. Hey, who wants to be in our tournament? You and you. Let's go. There are women like Bianca Belair, Renee Michelle, Taynara Conti, and a dozen of other women who have recently just trained in the Performance Center. You can't convince me that this was Taynara Conti's lifelong dream to win a women's wrestling tournament. A year and a half ago, she was still in modeling, and WWE never crossed her mind until they came up to her and offered her buckets of cash to get inside a ring. Now, she's in a lackluster match. You can tout that WWE has an unprecedented training facility and coaches to train women, but they're still green. They still put on some sloppy matches. Some of them have potential, but don't put them in a tournament that you're calling has the best women's wrestlers in the whole world. You can't find 32 women from around the world that have had prior pro wrestling experience. You can just Google women's wrestlers on the internet and see which countries have wrestling promotions with women in them. You can go to countries like Spain, Finland, Belgium, Portugal, France, Hungary, Canada wink wink, and many others, and you can find some serviceable talent. They haven't stepped foot inside the almighty Performance Center, but chances are, they aren't green. That's what was great about the Cruiserweight Classic. All the participants were real wrestlers, and not noobs learning how to wrestle in their first year. I'm not ridiculing the green women. Maybe they can turn out to be decent in due time, but they should not have been put under this much pressure. You would expect that when a green women's wrestler takes on an indie veteran that they would put on decent matches, right? Not at all. These matches were really hard to get into. Most of the matches had multiple mistakes, were really slow, ended abruptly, and I just couldn't enjoy them. Aisha Raymond got on the wrong turnbuckle, Kavita Devi didn't sell any moves, Marty Bell even though she was in TNA a few years ago did not really look like a world-class athlete in there. Rhea Ripley I have grown a liking too, but what was she doing dropkicking a woman who is just 5 feet tall? But anyway, what was Triple H thinking? You can go to an NXT house show and watch a 6-woman tag match with 6 random women and get more excitement. The crowds were dead for most of the matches. Hashtag give divas a chance, says the loyal wrestling crowds. What's so ironic about that was the wrestler that got the loudest reaction so far was the most manly and muscular woman in the tournament, Jazzy Gabbert. Now the matches weren't all bad, but there weren't enough matches that tried at all to be explosive. Kairi Sane vs Tessa Blanchard, Piper Niven vs Santana Garrett, Mia Yim vs Sarah Logan were the only 3 that I considered above average, and that's not good when you're trying to follow the Cruiserweight Classic. Did I mention many of them were from Shimmer? That meant that almost all of the indie wrestlers have all wrestled one another before. So hardly any once-in-a-lifetime matches. In each of the indie women's sizzle reels you had them all beating up Kaylee Ray and Ruby Riott. What gives? Most viewers have never watched Shimmer before, and that is true, but there's no mystique to the tournament because these veterans are not from all over the world, they're from Shimmer. Let's have a journeywoman from Europe take on a Mexican legend, or a Japanese ace who never left the country before taking on an American indie darling. The Cruiserweight Classic had matches like those. Nope, not here. Shimmer shimmer shimmer. Let's talk about JR and Lita. They were bad too. Jim Ross seemed so uninterested throughout all of the matches. Lita sounded like she was recording lines for the next WWE 2K video game. Mauro Ranallo and Daniel Bryan last year just blow them out of the water. They did not try to sell us on the matches, they were not that excited with the wrestling, and this seemed like the last place they wanted to be. There were ways this could have been much better. Number 1, I'm not saying to get rid of the new wrestlers, but don't throw them all in the tournament and expect to craft a masterpiece like a Minecraft crafting table. Second, don't include so many Americans. 17, have mercy. Let's see a mix of different countries and styles. Not just one Japanese. Not just one Mexican. Let's actually see the best of the best from each continent. Third, don't tape everything all at once. Give the women time to get to know each other, get to train with each other, and if that takes a number of months in order to do, then do it. The Cruiserweight Classic had one taping a month for 4 months. There was no reason for that to have changed. And finally, make it a real series. Give us one episode a week and hype them all up each week. WWE Network is in real need of programming to attract people, and I don't think this has. You can't tell me with a straight face that this tournament is worth $9.99 per month. If this leads to an all-women's weekly show, that is one thing, but this was an opportunity to introduce us to who we could see on that show, and Triple H squanders it. To sum things up, Triple H put on a budget tournament. Is it rather that the Cruiserweight Classic set the bar too high? When it comes to trying to attract network subscribers, no. Don't lie to yourselves though. Don't say that this has been an okay tournament if you think deep down inside that it is disappointing. From what we were originally promised, we deserve better. P.S. I am really surprised that Kacy Catanzaro signed a WWE deal. I thought she was a ninja warrior for life. Did NBC not pay her enough? Also, you could tell JR was reading her name from a piece of paper when she appeared at ringside.